Okay, welcome back to guitar class. This week is lesson 9 and it's the bar chords. And essentially in understanding the bar chords, it's important to get that there's really two types that we teach. One is what we call root on the 6 and the other one is root on the 5. And the 6 and the 5 refer to the 6th string and the 5th string. So, for example, if I played, say, a G bar chord, it's named G because this note on the 6th string is a G. So when the root of the chord is on the 6th string, it's a root on 6 chord. Now, I could also play a G here. And the reason that this is a G is because this note is a G. It's on the 5th string. So that's the other type of bar chord. So I can play a G bar chord here, root on 6, or I can play it here, root on 5. Okay? And so this is really important to understanding the bar chords. The root on 6 chords are following after the pattern of the E chord in first position, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is your E major chord. Notice that the root is here on the 6th string. So all root on 6 chords are modeled after the E chords. Okay, so for example, we're going to make this E chord into an F chord, but the way we're going to do it, first we're going to refinger the chord because you're going to need the first finger to make the bar when you move this chord shape up. Okay, so in order to do that, you have to rearrange your fingers to this fingering. Okay, 3, 4, 2. Now once you've done that, you can actually use that as a fingering for E sometimes, especially when you're going back and forth between that and a F bar chord. But once you get that arrangement of fingers, then you can slide it up and then you bar the first finger all the way across the fretboard. Okay, and that covers the 6th string and the 2nd string and the 1st string. All right, so now it's just like taking the E chord and moving it up a fret to the F. So now you have an F major chord. So the type is major, okay, and it has the same shape as like the E major, but now it's 1 fret higher. So you have to call it F major. Now, again, that's because this note is an F. If I moved it to a G, now I would have G major, okay? If I moved it to an A, again, I'm on the 6th string, that's the root. Then I would have an A major chord, and then so forth. If I moved it up 2 more frets, I would have a B, and then a C, 1 fret, and then 2 more would give me a D. So all out of this E chord that we started with, okay, we refingered it, 3, 4, 2, and then we just slid it up a fret and barred. All the notes that used to be open strings are now covered by the 1st finger, okay? So that's how you do root on the 6 bar chords. Let's go ahead and cover the rest of the root on 6 chords. Again, they all kind of come out of that E major shape. So now we're going to do another shape, which is the minor. Remember your E minor chord, right? You simply get it by lifting your 1st finger. Well, again, you need to refinger it just because of some distance issues, okay? So you're going to refinger it with 3 and 4. You should be able to play the E minor chord with that fingering. Now, if you slide that fingering up a fret and bar, now your 1st finger is going to cover the 1st string, the 3rd string, the 2nd string, and the 1st string. So that gives you F minor. Okay, same thing. If you moved the root up to a G, it would be G minor. And so the shape of the chord is still just like the E minor shape, but now your first finger is playing all of the other notes, okay? All right, the next shape I want to show you, I'm going out of sequence just a little bit, is from the E7 shape. Remember we used E7 fingered this way when we first learned it. Well, we're going to refinger that again with 3 and 2. 3 and 2. Okay, pinky is out here. Okay, 3 and 2. All right, now if I slide it up one, and bar becomes F7. Again, if I move the root to a G, I get G7. If I move it to an A, okay, and I've got that. You can see that shape is in there, the same shape we had in our E7 chord. We have anywhere we move that chord. Okay, so those are all 7th chords. Okay, and then the last one really isn't part of the lesson 1 and 2 chords. It's the E minor 7, which if you take your E minor and just lift your 3rd finger, you get an E minor 7. And if you will play that, your 5th fret, 2nd fret, your 5th string, 2nd fret, sorry, 5th string, 2nd fret with your 3rd finger, that gives you what's called the E minor 7. And then if you just slide it up 1 fret, it becomes F minor 7, G minor 7, A minor 7, etc. Okay, so that's it. The major, the minor, the dominant 7, and the minor 7, all root on the 6 chords. Now, the other type of bar chord is the root on 5th chord. The root on 5th chords all are based on your A chord shapes. So like A major, A minor 7, and A7. So now the root of all these chords is on the 5th string, the A string. All right, so if we take an A major, and again, just like we did with root on the 6 chords, we're going to need to refinger it. This one will be refingered like this with 2, 3, and 4, replacing where you had 1, 2, 3. Now you'll have 2, 3, 4. Okay, now you can actually play an A major with that fingering. Not for the test, but anyway. You can play A major with that fingering, and if you slide it up 1, and now you'll have the bar, and your bar should cover the 5th string and the 1st string. So now you get B flat major, okay? Now if I slide it up 1 more fret, I get B major, and another fret, I get C major. And what names the chord is the note that's on the 5th string. Root on 5th chords, for bar chords, are named by where the 5th string is. The 5th string is the root of all the root on 5 bar chords. All right, so that's what you do to get the major chord for root on the 5th bar chords. Now, if we could convert A minor, okay, again, we'll refinger it, same thing, 3, 4, and 2, okay, so that it's movable. And now you have to bar your first finger across. And I don't know if you noticed this, but when I'm strumming, I'm starting at the 5th string, okay, with my strum. I'm not starting on the 6th string. And it may be worth noting to some of you that I'm also really not putting my first finger on the 6th string. I'm really starting this bar at the 5th string, and I'm touching my 6th string just enough to mute it, because I really don't want to hear it. B flat minor, B minor, C minor, because this note is a C, okay, and then D minor, and then E minor, F minor, and G minor. And you can do all the notes in between as well. And we'll talk about that as soon as we get all the way through these. I want to go back and show you in the appendix something that will help kind of solidify what we're getting at with this. All right, and then let's do minor 7. That is, you remember A minor 7, it's the 2-finger chord. And then we're just going to re-finger that with 3 and 2, okay? All right, and then slide it up 1, okay, and bar, and you get B flat minor 7. Now, some of you will have issues with getting the notes to sound out with your first finger, the notes that are under your first finger. What I would say to encourage you with that is I did too. When I first learned bar chords, I definitely had issues with that. But I had to practice them over and over again for a period of time. And eventually my fingers grew strong from working on them. And then I was able to play it one day. And ever since then, I've been able to play bar chords. Don't be discouraged if they don't sound perfect right away, okay? But rather keep working on them and develop the strength that it takes to make them sound smooth. All right, so we did B flat major, B flat minor, we did minor 7. Now here's the dominant 7. Now you remember A7, we're going to convert that since that's our root on the 5th foundation here. We're going to convert that by re-fingering it with 3 and 4. Now you get, you slide it up 1 and bar, you get B flat 7. One more fret, you get B7, C7, D7, E7, F7, and G7. Okay. One of the difficult things about this chord is that your first finger is actually holding down the 5th string, the 3rd string, and the 1st string. So it takes some doing. One more technical hint. So that's all the root on the 5th chords. But one more technical hint. Sometimes a lot of times actually I see guitar players, and I've done this too, is like to try to get the chord to sound out. It becomes all about grip strength. And you really, that's really tough. It's really hard on your hands. To kind of keep that going is tough. So what's a different approach? Well, one approach you can use is to use a little more of the weight of your arm or your muscles that are in your arm instead of just in your grabbing muscles. And so that I'll try to demonstrate that here. This is mostly arm weight. Okay, that's still not perfect, but you get the idea. I did not have my thumb on the back of the neck because I really wanted to show you that you can make the chord sound out even without grabbing, okay, if you use the other approach. So that's something to look into as you develop in this. All right, I said that I would tell you about this page in the appendix. Let's take a look at that. All right. It is on the Roman numeral 4 page, and it's called Natural Notes on the E string and Natural Notes on the A string, okay? And it's just a review of each one of the notes on your E string and each one of the notes on your A string, because that's really what equips you to know where to play these bar chords, okay? So for example, you'll see a number under each note, and the idea is to stay on the 6th string the whole time. The 0 is the E, F is the 1st fret, so there's a 1 there. G is the 3rd fret, okay? A is on the 5th, B is on the 7th, C is on the 8th, and D is on the 10th. And finally, we get to E. Most acoustic guitar players aren't going to be able to play an E bar chord up there, but that's where the notes start to repeat. All right, and then the notes on the A string are A, B is on the 2nd fret, C is on the 3rd fret, D on the 5th, E on the 7th, F is on the 8th, G is on the 10, and then A, you're back to A again on the 12th fret. Okay, so remember that we're naming the root on 6 chords by the notes on the 6th string. So let's just go back, all right? We took the E major chord, we refingered it. If we slid it up, now the root is the F, right? If we slide it up to the 3rd fret, it becomes G, A on the 5th, B on the 7th, C on the 8th, D on the 10th fret. So those are all root on the 6th, so you go by the name of the note on the 6th string as you move up the fretboard. Now the other type of chord is the root on 5th chord, and those are all based on your A chord shapes. So we refingered the A, okay, and we slid it up. If you slide it up to the 2nd fret, it's B, 3rd fret is C, 5th fret is D, E is on the 7th fret, F is on the 8th fret, and then on the 10th is G. Now you notice I used alternate fingering, and I learned this in high school. You can bar those 3 notes with your 3rd finger, and so that, you know, for a lot of people that works out better. The trick is, can you bar and still hear the 1st string? So I don't feel myself being able to do that today. So it may not be the perfect fingering, but it may for some of you really work out to be better. All right, then on the next section of Roman numeral 4, page Roman numeral 4, is the chromatic scale. So now all of the notes in between, so like when you go to the 2nd fret of the E string, for example, the low E, the 6th string. When you go to the 2nd fret, you get an F sharp, which could also be called a G flat. You know, when you go to the 4th fret, you get what's known as a flat or a G sharp. Okay, if you go to the 6th fret, okay, you get the A sharp or B flat. Okay, and then if you go to the 9th fret, the C sharp or D flat. And then on the 11th fret, you get the E flat or the D sharp. Okay, so, and you can do the same thing with the 5th string. I also have the 5th string similarly spelled out. And I give the number for the fret and the 2 note names if there's 2 note names that are common. All right, now applying all of this is done on lesson 9A, and I do want to talk about that. So each chord, first exercise 1 is all natural note, root on the 6th chords, and I give you the graph, I give you the fret number, everything is there. It's kind of like what we just did. Same thing on exercise number 2. Exercise number 3 is what gets really interesting. Exercise number 2 does the same idea, just with root on the 5th chords. So exercise number 3 actually combines root on 6 and root on 5th chords, and R6 or R5 is what I use to kind of tell you which one I want. And I provide the chord graphs and the fret numbers and everything. Everything is there. But it's just to get you to move between root on 6 and root on 5 chords. Remember, root 6 chords are based on the E chord shape and have their root on the 6th string. Remember that the root on 5 chords are based on the A chord shapes, and their root is on the 5th string. So I'm going to attempt to play the 3rd exercise here on lesson 9A on page 36, and here we go. So we got F major, G B major, and then C major, then A major, and D major root on 5, and B major root on 6, and E major root on 5, and C major root on 6, F major root on 5, D major root on 6, G major root on 5. All right. So that's hopefully what you'll come up with, and you can add strumming patterns to that or what have you. But welcome to the world of bar chords. Take your time, press in. If you're having trouble getting all the notes to sound out, it may take a few weeks to get it, to master it, but you'll get it. And if you're already making all the notes sound out, good on you. That's awesome. Now just make sure you learn the note names up the neck on the 6th and the 5th string. And remember that the 5th string root chords look like the A major shapes, but the root on 6 chords look like the E major shapes. All right. And if you learn the notes on those 2 strings, like from that appendix, page 4, it'll really help you advance in being able to play bar chords well all the way up the neck. Okay, I hope that helps you get a good firm grasp on how to start your bar chord journey. Please let me know if you have any questions. Send me an email or you can text me. And be sure that you got your D minor is sad. I have not graded them yet, but I'm going to. And I'd like to make sure I have all of them. I just need a video of you playing it along with the video of me playing it. All right, thanks a lot.